Testing, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Hello, welcome to the Ninja Robot Studio LLC stream where I play video games and VR experiences and talk through them from a UX designer's perspective. Game development has a very heavy and direct influence on XR development, so it makes sense that we would study game design to better understand how to create exceptional immersive experiences. And for those that don't know, I have over 20 years of experience creating, designing experiences across multiple platforms, including websites, mobile, kiosk, desktop software, multimedia CDs, and most recently XR with a focus on VR, simply because I don't have any AR headsets yet. There aren't any commercially available that are affordable for any people. So I'm on VR right now, but I do hope to get into AR more once we have some headsets available that are affordable. So on Thursdays, think of it kind of like a less expensive and less academic version of a labs class on free, where I am actually doing a part of the process of UX design for XR. So there's the overall, like, you do user research, upfront field research, things like that to understand what is the problem that you're trying to solve. And then once you get that and you get all of your project scope, talking to your stakeholders and your clients or whoever to understand what is the problem that we're trying to solve, what do the stakeholders see as success, what is the worst thing in their eyes that could happen with this, what do they not want to happen with this, what do they see as a failure, so that we can understand, okay, these are what the business needs, this is what the users, the end target audience needs. Once we know that, we then take that and design something before we start building, because you want to have a good, solid understanding of designing something, because if you build it without doing that upfront design, it is going to you're most likely going to have to rebuild. So doing design first will help you figure out all of the potential issues and have a good plan in place, so that you're not just designing and building and reworking and building and reworking, because it's much more costly and time consuming to remake something once it's developed than it is to just do it on, like, think of it like blueprints for a house. You need to know the blueprints of the house. It's a lot easier to make a change on the blueprints than it is to make a change once you've already built the thing. So it's cheaper to use an eraser than a sledgehammer, basically, and less time consuming. So upfront design, part of upfront design, there is something called competitive landscaping or design research, which is different than user research. This is what I'm doing on this stream, is doing competitive landscaping live and doing that type of research live, so that y'all can see how does this work, because this is an important part of that process, or the methods that you use to create excellent experiences, understanding the domain and knowing what's working and what's not working within other competitive landscaping. What are the competitors doing? If there are any competitors, what are they doing? If there are not any competitors, then we need to look outside of that and see, what can we do? What's working that kind of solves the problem that we're talking about here? Like, if we need to create a training sim, for example, I'm doing training sims like that right now. If we need a choices matter type of training where if they make a mistake, they have a consequence. Then that means that we need branching narrative. And so how are other people handling branching narrative? So then we can go look at that. If there's nothing out there competitive wise that is solving that problem, then we can go look at games that handle branching narrative. And it can be video games, 2D video games, or VR experiences. How are they handling it? And we learn from that and make our thing better to fill the needs of our business and our target audience. So that's competitive landscaping. I go by genre. I started with tabletop RPGs, and you can check out all the recordings. If you look at the About section on the Twitch page, you just scroll down, you'll see a link to all of the previous videos that I've run, and you can also check them out on YouTube. I will put that link in the show notes and in here in Twitch. That is all of the on-demand, because Twitch only holds it for a week now. But you can go see all of them on demand on YouTube. And I go by genre. So I started with tabletop RPGs, and then I did platformers, and now I'm doing training. And training is a very high demand area of XR right now, and for good reason. It's a very effective way to teach somebody new skills in an immersive way. It's a good tool to have in your arsenal for training, and that's what we're working on right now. I have already gone through 6 games: Rover Mechanic Simulator, Car Mechanic Simulator, and Wrench Desktop. These 3 are desktop 2D games. And then Wrench VR, First Steps, and First Contact are VR. And important differentiator here of what I'm doing, since I'm studying teaching and training experiences, I'm just gone through onboarding experiences for the most part, unless like First Steps and First Contact, the entire experience is teaching you. And then there are also 2 different types of training there that these cover. One is skill and one is interaction. So teaching you how to interact with the world versus teaching you a skill in the world. And so I'm doing I went through and I played all 6 games, and I am working on the synthesis and the follow-up right now. So overarching for each of the games that I played, I went through and I did a rose, thorn, bud, and what's working, what's going well, what's a highlight, based on UX best practices for XR, based on the gaming, the Pillars of Gaming UX by Celia Hodent. They're written in the Gamer's Brain by Celia Hodent. You can check that out. You can learn about the Pillars of Gaming UX. I'll put that in the show notes as well, and there it is in the chat. But after each session, at the end of each session, we will do a rose, thorn, bud. Roses are what's going well, what's a highlight, what's good, what's working. Thorns are what's not working, what didn't go well, what was a low point, what did we not like, based on, again, it would be based on our knowledge of, hi Pushkar, how are you doing? Based on our knowledge of our upfront research that we did on our target audience, and based on Pillars of Gaming UX and best practices. So my holidays were fine. I ended up having to work a little bit because I was having technical difficulties with my headset, getting ready to teach class on Monday. So I ended up having to work a little over the holiday. That wasn't fun, but I got through it. I'm gonna try to take a little bit of extra time later to make up for it. How's your day going? You didn't have any holidays. Are you in any holidays right now over there? So thorns are what's not working, and then buds are what can we do about it. So we've got a definitive list at the end of the day. These are the things that are working. These are the things that aren't working. This is what we're going to do about it. Because we always want to keep in mind what is working, because we don't want to change that. We want to learn and remember that and keep doing that. And then we want to fix what's not working. And so ideally, every thorn has at least one bud associated with it, so that we can actually do something about it and not just complain for no reason, because that's not productive. And then after that, I will talk about, so if this is a 2D experience and we were going to translate it into XR, what would we need to think about as far as best practices and stuff? If it's already an XR experience, a VR experience, for example, what would we need to think about if we were going to convert it to mixed or augmented reality? No holidays, waiting for the weekend to chill. The week's been a bit hectic. Yeah, mine's been busy too. Yeah, I would, but I've got stuff to do this weekend too. I'm looking forward to having a break. But it's my normal stuff that I do on weekends, so that's fine. So once I'm done with a certain genre, I will then do synthesis on that and group together all of the things, overall arching things that are working. And then if there are any standouts that one specific game is doing really well, I'll want to make a note of that because we can learn from that. And then overarching, what is an issue that everything that we've played has done? Overarching issues that we need to learn and not do. And what are individual standout issues that an individual game might have, but we need to also learn from that and make sure that we don't do that as well. Otherwise, learn from others' mistakes instead of just their own. And then the buds are the overarching things. Okay, based on all of this, what are the overarching things of what we could do to make our experience, if we were going to create a training sim, better? And then right now I'm following up on that to see, because there were some things that I made note of on one game but didn't make note of it on another one. So I want to go back and see, is this an overarching thing or is this a standout issue for this one game? So that's what I'm working on now. I'm almost done. I've already gone through these 4: Rover mechanic, power mechanic, wrench, desktop, and VR. And then today I'm going to be doing first steps and first contact. And I'm almost done with first steps. They're very short experiences. So we will just, since it's a very short experience, I'm going to do as much as I can on just by scrubbing the video. And then if I need to get in VR, I will. But it's hard to be in VR and take notes on the mirror board at the same time. So I will be trying what I can here, and then I'll get in. I need to. And then I'm trying to decide, because this should be the last stream on this. I'm thinking of doing more actual training sims, because I found some legit ones that are real training, not just a game, that I found for free on Steam that I might want to look at. What I'm doing is I'm working on a course that on my online school, you can check out the link tree. I'm adding a new course soon. Well, it's going to take a while to make it. I'm working on it to teach you specifically training in XR, UX for training in XR. How would we make a training sim? What's that process? Storyboarding, all that. Prototyping stuff. And we're not going to develop it in Unity, because I don't know Unity development, but we can prototype that so that we would test if we were going to do usability testing. That's what I'm working on now. It'll take a while to make it. Those things take time. But this is research that's going to feed into that. Okay, let's get going on that then. So first steps. I'm going to just start with the video for now. And I need to see tooltip show when hovering. That's already, yeah, that's a yes. I'll double check. Animated tooltips for more clarity. Yes, they are. Disabling the menu items that aren't. Yes, exactly. They do that. I know this for a fact. Controller tooltips relevant to the different controllers. No, because it's only available on the Oculus, because it's specifically training for Oculus. See, the course sounds interesting. Thank you. I am hoping that it will be really good. It shouldn't be like anything that's out there. It should be different from any, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen other people doing what I'm planning on doing, so hopefully it'll be good. I just need the time to actually do it. But yeah, I'm wanting to add more and more courses like that to my online on-demand school, and try to actually, on that one, I'm thinking of doing a hybrid, where it's on demand, but it's kind of cohort based. But I'm gonna be, you're gonna be interacting with me, but not all the time. I've got to figure that out because I wouldn't be able to interact with you all the time. But maybe we can implement these streams that I do for feedback. Maybe I'll have to figure that part out. But I do want it to be where you're getting value out of that, besides just the content, that you're actually getting feedback so that you can learn. I have to figure out logistic wise how I can do that and still, get rest and stuff, sleep. So if you have ideas, I would love to hear them. Like, have you taken any other online courses or anything? What kind of stuff works? What doesn't work? What would you like to see? Because I will listen and see what I can do. Won't be able to do everything, but I would listen. Okay, tooltips go away after a certain point, and then you have to remember them. Yes, that is true. But I would want to validate that with testing, because it feels like it's less complex, but I would want to validate that because I am, of course, biased because I play a lot of VR and I play a lot of gaming. You've taken IDF courses. How were they? I started one, but I had to stop it because of COVID layoffs. I had to stop taking it. How was it for you? Is that one subscription based? So you have access based on subscription. So see, then give the ability to reference full tasks. That's not relevant to this sim. And give an easy way of finding the next step if you're out in the field. If it's out of field of view, that's not relevant because everything is set in front of you. I will just make a note of that. In front of you in your field of view. And like not everything, but the key interaction elements are set in front of you. And that's the same on this one. You loved it, but it was mostly theory, less practical. I'm trying to do a bit more practical. Yeah. I'm trying to let you actually do stuff and learn from it. That's the hope. And show you how I would do it. Which isn't how everyone would do it, it's just how I would do it. That's my hope. Would that work? So it gives visual and audio feedback of successful actions. Yes. And I need to verify on first contact. Visual feedback and sound effects are detailed and well designed. Yes. Shows you how to access reference information. That's not relevant because it's a short thing. There's no information manuals. Tooltips, common actions visible at all times. Okay. I don't think so. That's one I have to verify. I don't think so. Let's play it. One of the games This is one of the games that I tell anyone to study if they're wanting to do onboarding or training. I will tell them to study this one, rip it apart, and learn from it. His first steps. I have to read it, but I didn't even know that it was progressing because I didn't hear it.
So I'm just going to go ahead and
More practical would really be helpful. Also, let me know if you need any help for any of your work. I would be happy to help. Thank you. Appreciate it. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'll let you know.
so look at my hands, and you can see that the controllers are emulated in my hands, which is excellent for a brand new experience. And it's tracking my fingers, not completely because my fingers are not touching my grip button, but so that's weird. But so it's wanting me to press all the glowing buttons to get used to their placement on the controller.
If you pay attention, there's a lot of little like particle effects happening whenever you click on something.
The same thing that's on the screen back there, which is excellent, backing up what the narrator's saying with text in case someone can't hear. They can still see. But at this point, they've stopped the auto progression of the dialogue and they're waiting for you to complete what it is that you're wanting to complete. They're wanting you to complete, and it's giving so pay attention to the micro interaction on the thumbstick. When I push it, click it in. So you saw the little confetti. And there's also a haptic feedback that's happening at the same time, so I'm getting multiple modes of feedback. And if you pay attention, my thumbs are glowing because that's what finger they want you to use. So there's a ton of different multiple like inputs saying, do this thumbstick, this thumb.
Okay, let's fast forward because it gets rid of the controllers at some point.
So you saw a little confetti and everything saying success. I'm going to try to reset the play space. That did not work. So
I was at this point playing the Rift version on the...
Usually you just press down the little home button, but all that did was bring up the menu.
On the computer, so it doesn't have the same functionality fully as the Quest. To reset your view, it's different on the Rift version on desktop than it is on Quest.
Yeah, it doesn't let you do that. So I guess I can't reset the play space. But you can see everything fine though. So reach your hand out to the block. As I'm reaching my hand out, the tooltip changes once I get in proximity to the block.
Are you able to hear the video?
It changes and says squeeze the grip to grab. And I got a little bit of haptic feedback, and I'm picking it up and I can feel haptic feedback making it feel like I've got this thing in my hand. And release grip to drop. So it changed again, step by step. And it's mimicking, and it's mirroring what it says on this tooltip on the board back there. And the narrator is also saying everything as well. So drop it, and now your virtual hands can do just about anything. Go ahead and play with some of these items. And now we've got new items that just showed up. And they are using physics, so these things behave as you expect. Your hand is gripping it as you would expect it to grip it. The animation is changing to make it look like you would expect. And when you drop it, it behaves like it would in real life and respawns if you drop it on the ground. And if you pick up the little ball, it's smaller, and you can see that the hand position has changed to look like you would if you were picking up a little object. And it behaves like you would expect. Except that was a little weird. So hold the grip with the middle finger to grab. And it's holding it like you're supposed to hold a paddle. And now I'm terrible with this, but there you go. And it behaves like you would expect.
Yeah, it falls off the paddle, exactly like I would do in real life.
To grab. I am too short to reach that other one. Paper airplane. And I'm not left-handed here.
I'm not right-handed either.
Okay, we go. And it gives like contrail and everything. And now a new thing just popped up on the desk. So it's slowly introducing new things.
I need to see if there's not
So
like
now we've got a
tooltips per se.
cartridge with first contact in it. We're gonna play that one next week. But so this is what we were talking about with an onboarding experience that goes step by step. It waits for you to.
I don't see any tooltips on
do
like,
one step.
gripping.
It shows you that you have successfully completed that.
They go away after a certain amount of time. But I need to see if, because I didn't see if there was any glow on the hand. Once the tooltips go away, do the fingers that you need to use still glow? Because it does that in first contact.
And
but I'm not
hold the grip
seeing.
With the middle finger to grab. I am too short to. It's like you would expect. And then hold the grip with the middle finger to grab.
I can't see it, so
to reach that other one. Paper.
I may have to get in VR to try it. Okay. That one I still have to check. I have to get in VR to try that one. But we can switch to first contact first. And then you loved how the hand position's adapting to their respective objects. You thought it was hand tracking. Yeah, it's not hand tracking. They did a really good job with that. Because it's using the... Do you have a Quest? It's using the... These are called Oculus Touch controllers. And so there are sensors, actually, on the buttons. And so it can sense when your fingers are touching the buttons. And then it can kind of emulate hand motions. But then they went the extra mile and changed the hand behaviors for when you're picking up something small versus something large or versus an airplane. Your hand position's changing. They did a lot of good work adding all of that extra animation. Now, creating all of that stuff is actually, it requires coding and animation on the model rig of the hand. So it does take extra effort to do that. But they actually went the extra mile to do that, which is really nice. Most of the games don't do that. But if you can create one like hand model, one prefab in Unity, or a developer can do that, then you can just reuse that same one and just hook it up in your different games. You just have to hook it up. But once it's made, you've got it and you can reuse it. It is worth the effort to add that extra bit of delight and believability into your experiences. Or just use hand tracking if it's available. But I have issues with hand tracking because my hands are small and my arms are short, so I have to hold my arms out further to think about that for kids too, especially, is that they're going to have a harder time with hand tracking on the Quest, at least, because the headset's still big, so your hands have to be within sight of all those sensors that are on the headset. It's got sensors around the front, and those have to be within view for hand tracking to work. But with the controllers, you don't have to have that because they've got their own. They work like little antenna so that the headset knows where they are. They're their own trackers. Okay, now first contact. Let's look at that one. I love this one. I also highly recommend this one if you have Oculus.
we're gonna just have to deal with it. Okay.
I was trying to set up the play space so I could reach it.
But that's one thing that you do want, is the ability to reset your play space, because now I may be bumping into my computer, and I probably won't be in view of the camera. So, because of my play space, I can't adjust it. Reset gameplays option. UI issue again? Yeah. Well, this is old. This is on the Rift. On the computer.
You just purchased
so
it?
it's not a Quest game.
Yeah. So these two are
If I
free.
was in my Quest and
So First Steps and First Contact are free. I highly recommend them. They're going to also teach you how to interact with the Oculus Quest. So grab those, and grab BOGO. That one's free. So here, First Steps, First Contact, and BOGO. All those are free. And there is a free version of Beat Saber, free demo. There used to be, if you want to try that. I don't remember if it's still available on the Quest. Used to be a free version that lets you play like one game, one song or something.
running this game on my Quest, I would be able to do that. The problem is that whenever I'm trying to stream from the old Quest, you can do it with the new one, the Quest 2. This is the original.
Yeah, that's my OG Oculus Quest original.
Cast the sound. You can't get the sound from my Quest to the computer so that you can hear it. But otherwise, you would be able to reset the play space in the Quest. And I don't have an original Rift, so I don't know how they reset the play spaces. But
I think I've since figured that out. Okay, let's fast forward. Tooltips show when hovering over objects.
Saying press down, and that's telling me to press down the lid. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that.
No, they don't, but
Touch in 80s robot.
they do. They show before. And the fingers glow. The appropriate fingers glow. Yeah, they're good. I like them.
So it's just teaching you, okay, natural gestures. And it's using NPC behaviors to tell you to communicate with you. It's not using any language, which is good because this is saving you voiceover work. But it's teaching you with NPC behaviors, which is a very good thing to study. And it's got another tooltip saying to grab the cartridge, so I'm going to grab the cartridge. And it's again reinforcing what I'm supposed to do with gestures. And another tooltip saying insert the cartridge into this old computer.
I don't think this is relevant here.
Everything's come on. Lights are on now.
Disabling menu items that aren't relevant to the tutorial, only focusing on things learning. Well, they do go step by step. And introduce and enable things as it's introduced. But it's different than there aren't any, like, there are no menu buttons or anything. Menu or controller buttons. Okay, tooltips go away after a certain point, then you have to remember them. I think that your finger continues to highlight in this one.
And only smiling.
Because both of the fingers were highlighted.
And now gesturing to go to the next thing and lighting up the opening so you know where it goes and it just snaps in.
Okay, so tooltips go away, but the finger still highlights. And by finger, I mean the finger that is on the button that you're supposed to be pressing. That you're supposed to use, like your middle finger for your grip button, your trigger finger for your index finger for your trigger, and so forth, thumb for the top buttons. It will highlight that finger. And I'm holding it with the wrong hand, but it gives visual and audio feedback of successful actions. Yes, I believe so.
Language, which is good because this is saving you voiceover work, but it's teaching you with NPC behaviors, which is a very good thing to study. And it's got another tooltip saying to grab the cartridge, so I'm going to grab the cartridge. And it's again reinforcing what I'm supposed to do with gestures. And another tooltip saying insert the cartridge into this old computer.
There were sounds.
And it's again reinforcing what I'm supposed to do with gestures. And another tooltip saying insert the cartridge into this old computer.
So, yes. And then on this one, I'm realizing there is no language. It's all NPC. No language. Like animation. No spoken or written language on that one. So I need to follow up on that one. Maybe that's something you can help with, because on first steps, it doesn't have a language selection option, but it's going by, I'm assuming it's going by whatever the native language is. So if you get the quest and if it supports your native language, I would be interested in knowing does it support that? Or is it only English? Assuming you're in India, you have another language. Do you know any voice command-based VR experiences? Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Language-based. So I know that Oculus Home, like in their on the Quest, you can turn on voice commands and just use them with like the Oculus menu and stuff. If you want to try that. I don't know if there are any. I don't know. There probably are, but I don't know what they are. I do know, like on the PC, there are some. Like there's one PC-based VR experience that will train you, like public speaking. So you would do public speaking and it would score you on, are you looking at the audience? Are you making contact? How many times do you say those filler words like or something? and then tell you and score you and say, okay, fix these things, like that. Which is cool, but that's PC based, but it's using speech technology to do it. Other than that, I don't know, but I haven't really looked for any. Tooltips update based on context. Yes, they do. That's not really... They're in context, but that's fine. This one, they're in context. That's good. That's fine. It shows the glowing finger. This one's the one I'm not sure about. You can't restart within the scene. You have to leave and restart. Right, that's the same for all of them. No way of bringing back tooltips once you complete it the first time. Fingers glow, I think.
Everything's come on. Lights are on now.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's smiling now. And now gesturing to go to the next thing. And
did my finger glow?
everything's come on. Lights are on now. And he wants to be. Oh, and he's.
You're getting spoilers right now. I can't tell if my finger glowed. I'll have to get in there. I need to verify it. I think it... Hold on.
That, and now the butterflies on the finger.
Okay, now they do stop. They do stop glowing. They stop glowing after a while. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I would want to test that. You were curious if the voice commands can reduce involvement of hands. Just a thought. Yeah, it does. It for sure does. If you want to test it out on the Oculus Home, you just have to go into the settings and make sure that it's enabled voice commands, and it'll do a little training for you on how it works. And then you can try it. It does save you time pulling up menu options and stuff for sure, but it uses a syntax that you have to follow, which is one of the cons of voice commands. Is that at least on Oculus Home you have to use a specific syntax. And with HoloLens, I know that they're going to stop making HoloLenses, but you can still use MRTK, which is their system that they use, their UI system. You can still use MRTK for like applications on the Quest because they do support using it on the Quest, and that has voice commands as well. So you could, and their philosophy though is see it, say it. So you would set up the commands to be what you see. so you don't have to remember a syntax. But it's still limited to, it's not like, it's not normal conversational language. It's still going to be a command, kind of like Alexa or Siri or something, but it does save you time interacting with menus and stuff. Like you could pull up certain apps. You just have to remember the syntax. But that's something you can try for free on Oculus Home without having to buy any games or anything. Glowing fingers are shown in context, but they do stop after a time. So let me... yeah, that they adds tooltips go away after a time. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. There would need, I would say, give them a way to bring them back up. Oculus Home and MRTK. Let me see if I can find you the documentation. Here. They are getting ready to come out with another version. That's MRTK 3. Not out yet. I don't know when it's going to come out with. There may be delays because of all the layoffs that everyone's been doing. But it's in preview, so you can see a preview of it. And you can also, there is, if you, do you use, what kind of design tools do you use, like Figma or any XD, Adobe XD, Illustrator? What kind of tools do you use? Yeah. This thing. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. They have a toolkit in Figma. You can just do a search in the community for MRTK, but make sure that you find the one that is, because there's like you get a ton of results in there. Make sure that you, I'm typing it. Make sure to get the one made by Yoon Park and it's Microsoft. So what I think it's mixed reality is what it says on there, but it's Microsoft. So just make sure you're getting that version, especially if you're wanting to use it with Unity. It has to be that version. But the MRTK3 doesn't like fully work, but you can also find that one in Figma. They've got a preview of MRTK3 as well in Figma, but it's just not hooked up and doesn't work yet. But make sure you get the one that's made by Mixed Reality, because there might be multiple versions of that, not sure. But it'll say preview on it. And you can see what, and so that toolkit will let you do, in Unity, it'll let you do voice commands. But I haven't learned as much about that speech capability in there yet, so I can't talk to it a lot. But I can say that it is, their philosophy is see it, say it. So make sure that your voice commands are written visual on the UI so that they know what to say without having to remember syntax or anything, because that's going to slow you down. So before you hover, animated tooltips, yes, they go step by step. Yep. Only available on Oculus. Tooltips go after a time. Key elements are in front of you. Let's see. They go, they do stop after a time. I think these stop after a time. I'm pretty sure they stop after a time. way of bringing them back. Yeah, you can't bring them back. Yeah. Let's see. So then the only thing that's left is I need to know about that language. No pressure if you forget. No pressure. But I would like to know that on the first steps one. How do they handle language on that one? Because on that one, they have both voice and written on the tooltips and on the board behind. So I'd like to know how they handle that. Is it in English or are they translating it into other languages? So you loved the documentation of components? Yes, they are very detailed on documentation. I appreciate their their documentation. Good. Controller tooltips relevant to different controllers. Oh, this one was for Wrench VR. I may not be able to get that answer because I don't have it on Steam and I don't want to buy it on Steam because I doubt I'm going to play it. So I'd rather not buy it. I already have it on the Quest. I don't want to buy another version. So I may not get that answer, but I'll see if I can, but I'm not going to spend too much time getting that answer. Okay. Now. That was I've already done the verification on all this stuff. Now I guess I could just quickly get into VR and verify about the tooltips. You can't bring them back up. I know that. I do believe they go away after a time. Let me get VR hooked up. I'm gonna have to hook it up on oh, you're checking? Okay, cool. I'll get VR hooked up. Just getting side quest hooked up so you can see my quest. Side quest is a way to cast your quest to the PC. It's free. It's free. But you can cast PC. Okay. Use, well, it's going to be dark right now. I don't think I have the sound hooked up on the stream. I'm just checking the hand behavior. It refuses to face the way I want it to face. Ah. Okay. See. The MetaQuest mobile app supports the following languages: Czech, Spanish, German, Greek, English. Okay, a lot. A lot, but yours isn't in there, right? I can be brave later and try the Japanese. Try to switch it to Japanese. I may never make it back, but okay, yeah. Thanks for checking that. Appreciate it. I need both hands. Yeah, the glow goes away on that one. Trying out Japanese, increasing level of difficulty. Yeah, so I'm trying to learn Japanese, but I have been slacking lately, so if I do try it, I may never make it back. I think I could. I hope I could. Depends on how good of a UI design they have, because that was one of the cool things you can learn if there is a good UI design by switching the language. And if you can figure out what to do in a foreign language on the app or website, that is a good design. Yeah, that's a good test. Otherwise, you're stuck. Try to at least do one that you know a little bit about. Yeah. So yeah, the finger glow goes away on first steps. Let's make sure I said that. Both tips go away after a time. I would say, I'm just going to say the same thing on both of these because I would want to validate that with testing. Yeah, they stop after a time. So this is a no and a yes. Actually lets you initiate this start by yourself by pushing the lid on the robot. This is a no and a yes. So the scene starts playing on its own, but you do push a button to start learning the it stops at a point to wait for input. So it's a yes and a no on that one. And then it waits for input before it continues, which is good. So that's all of follow-up. Those glows go away after a time on these, on both of those two. Yeah, I love anime. I haven't had a time to sit down and watch it because I watch it in Japanese, which means I have to sit down and watch it. I can't just have it running while I'm doing other things. I can't multitask since I do watch it in Japanese. So that I haven't had time to watch it lately. But yeah, I do love anime. What about you? Yeah, I think I may play at least one legit training sim since I found them. I may play at least one and then add that to this so that I may end up playing all three because that's how I am, but I'll do at least one. And so we have at least one legitimate training sim in here besides just games. Because I wasn't originally aware that there were any available. but a friend showed me some that they found, and they're for free, and they're on Steam, and they're legitimate training for CDC, I think, and I found a training one for fire safety too. So I may try those. You watched a few Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Conan, Dragon Ball Z. I like Naruto. I actually read more manga. I still read manga more than I watch anime. So I'm still reading, but I'll do manga in both English and Japanese. So, like the Weekly Shonen Jump, I read in English, but I have on my bookshelves behind me Japanese manga that I've ordered from Amazon Japan, so that I can read it in Japanese and force myself to learn Japanese that way, because it's interesting and fun, and since it has pictures, it makes it easier. Because there's a lot of pictures, not very many. There's, depending on which manga you get, right, you're not going to have like dissertations or anything. It's going to be simple language, so depending on which one. So lots of grunts and fighting words. You learn all the fighting words. So yeah, which one is your favorite? I've watched a ton of anime. Demon Slayer is pretty awesome. I read that whole manga, and the manga's finished. The anime's still going. The manga's finished. Very good. And My Hero Academia is also very good. That manga is still going. The anime is still going. Naruto, I like Naruto. I have not watched One Piece yet. It's really daunting because there are so many episodes. I'm tempted to just read the manga because the One Piece is like a ton of filler episodes which aren't like part of the story in manga, in One Piece and Bleach. I read most of Bleach manga. I think I skipped part of the arc and then read the ending. It's over. The manga's over. Conan and Dragon Ball I haven't done. One Piece is just daunting. It's on my list, but it's so many episodes. So many manga chapters. It's been going for so long. But I made it through Naruto. I should be able to make it through One Piece. Yeah, so next week we'll pick up with another training sim and do the whole Rose Thornbud thing with that. And yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, we'll continue this work next week. See you next week or Tuesday, hopefully. If not, have a good week. Thanks for hanging out.